Part II of Oedipus Rex by Sophocles, translated by Gilbert Murray, 1866 to 1957. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. Part II. Oedipus. How now, assassin? Walking at my gate with eye undimmed, thou plotter demonstrate against this life, and robber of my crown? God help thee! Me? What was it set me down thy butt? So dull a brain hast found in me aforetime, such a faint heart, not to see thy work betimes, or seeing not to smite? Art thou not rash this once? It needeth might of friends, it needeth gold, to make a throne thy quarry, and I fear me thou hast none. Creon. One thing alone I ask thee. Let me speak as thou hast spoken. Then, with knowledge, wreak thy judgment. I accept it without fear. Oedipus. More skill hast thou to speak than I to hear thee. There is peril found in thee, and hate. Creon. That one thing let me answer ere too late. Oedipus. One thing be sure of, that thy plots are known. Creon. The man who thinks that bitter pride alone can guide him, without thought, his mind is sick. Oedipus. Who thinks to slay his brother with a trick, and suffer not himself, his eyes are blind. Creon. Thy words are more than just. But say what kind of wrong thou fanciest I have done thee. Speak. Oedipus. Didst urge me, or didst urge me not, to seek a counsel from that man of prophecies? Creon. So judged I then, nor now judge otherwise. Oedipus (suddenly seeing a mode of attack). How many years have passed since Laius... The words seem to choke him. Creon. Speak on. I cannot understand thee thus. Oedipus (with an effort). Passed in that bloody tempest from men's sight. Creon. Long years and old. I scarce can tell them right. Oedipus. At that time was this seer in Thebes, or how? Creon. He was. Most wise and honoured, even as now. Oedipus. At that time did he ever speak my name? Creon. No. To mine ear at least it never came. Oedipus. Held you no search for those who slew your king? Creon. For sure we did, but found not anything. Oedipus. How came the all-knowing seer to leave it so? Creon. Ask him. I speak not where I cannot know. Oedipus. One thing thou canst, with knowledge full, I wot. Creon. Speak it. If true, I will conceal it not. Oedipus. This, that until he talked with thee, the seer ne'er spoke of me as Laius' murderer. Creon. I know not if he hath so spoken now. I heard him not. But let me ask, and thou answer me true, as I have answered thee. Oedipus. Ask, ask. Thou shalt no murder find in me. Creon. My sister is thy wife this many a day? Oedipus. That charge it is not in me to gainsay. Creon. Thou reignest, giving equal reign to her? Oedipus. Always to her desire I minister. Creon. Were we not all as one, she, thou, and I? Oedipus. Yes, thou false friend. There lies thy treachery. Creon. Not so. Nay, do but follow me and scan thine own charge close. Think'st thou that any man would rather rule and be afraid than rule and sleep untroubled? Nay, where lives the fool? I know them not, nor am I one of them, who careth more to bear a monarch's name than do a monarch's deeds. As now I stand, all my desire I compass at thy hand. Were I the king, full half my deeds were done to obey the will of others, not mine own. Were that as sweet, when all the tale were told, as this calm griefless princedom that I hold in silent power? Am I so blind of brain that ease with glory tires me, and I fain must change them? All men now give me God-speed, all smile to greet me. If a man hath need of thee, 'tis me he calleth to the gate, as knowing that on my word hangs the fate of half he craves. Is life like mine a thing to cast aside and plot to be a king? Doth a sane man turn villain in an hour? For me, I never lusted thus for power, nor bore with any man who turns such lust to doing. But enough.
I claim but just question. Go first to Pytho, find if well and true I did report God's oracle. Next, seek in Thebes for any plots entwined Between this seer and me, which if ye find, Then seize and strike me dead. Myself that day Will sit with thee as judge and bid thee slay. But damn me not on one man's guess. 'Tis all unjust, to call a traitor true, to call a true man traitor with no cause nor end. And this I tell thee, he who plucks a friend Out from his heart hath lost a treasured thing Dear as his own dear life. But time shall bring Truth back. 'Tis time alone can make men know What hearts are true, the false one day can show. Leader. To one that fears to fall, his words are wise, O king. In thought the swift win not the prize. Oedipus. When he is swift who steals against my reign With plots, then swift am I to plot again. Wait patient, and his work shall have prevailed Before I move and mine for ever failed. Creon. How then? To banish me is thy intent? Oedipus. Death is the doom I choose, not banishment. Creon. Wilt never soften, never trust thy friend? Oedipus. First I would see how traitors meet their end. Creon. I see thou wilt not think. Oedipus. I think to save my life. Creon. Think too of mine. Oedipus. Thine, thou born knave? Creon. Yes. What, if thou art blind in everything? Oedipus. The king must be obeyed. Creon. Not if the king does evil. Oedipus. To your king! Ho, Thebes, mine own! Creon. Thebes is my country, not the king's alone. Oedipus has drawn his sword. The chorus show signs of breaking into two parties to fight for Oedipus or for Creon, when the door opens and Jocasta appears on the steps. Leader. Stay, princes, stay. See on the castle stair the Queen Jocasta standeth. Show to her your strife. She will assuage it, as is well. Jocasta. Vain men, what would ye with this angry swell Of words heart blinded? Is there in your eyes No pity thus, when all our city lies Bleeding, to ply your privy hates? Alack, my lord, come in. Thou, Creon, get thee back to thine own house, And stir not to such stress of peril Griefs that are but nothingness. Creon. Sister, it is the pleasure of thy lord, Our king, to do me deadly wrong. His word is passed on me. 'Tis banishment or death. Oedipus. I found him. I deny not what he saith, my queen, With craft and malice practising against my life. Creon. Ye gods, if such a thing hath once been in my thoughts, May I no more see any health on earth, But, festered o'er with curses, die. Have done. There is mine oath. Jocasta. In God's name, Oedipus, believe him, both for my sake, and for these whose hearts are all thine own, and for my brother's oath withal. Leader. Yield, consent, think. My lord, I conjure thee. Oedipus. What would ye have me do? Leader. Reject not one who never failed his troth Of old, and now is strong in his great oath. Oedipus. Dost know what this prayer means? Leader. Yea, verily. Oedipus. Say then the meaning true. Leader. I would not have thee cast to infamy Of guilt where none is proved, one who hath sworn, And whom thou once hast loved. Oedipus. 'Tis that ye seek? For me then, understand well, ye seek Death or exile from the land. Leader. No, by the God of gods, the all‐seeing Sun, May he desert me here, and every friend with him, to death and utterest malison, If e'er my heart could dream of such an end. But it bleedeth sore, in a land half slain, If we join to the griefs of yore griefs of you twain. Oedipus. Oh, let him go, though it be utterly my death, or flight from Thebes in beggary. 'Tis thy sad lips, not his, that make me know pity. Him I shall hate where'er he go. Creon. I see thy mercy moving full of hate and slow. Thy wrath came swift and desperate. Methinks of all the pain that such a heart spreadeth, Itself doth bear the bitterest part. Oedipus. Oh, leave me and be gone. Creon. I go, wronged sore by thee. These friends will trust me as before. Creon goes. Oedipus stands apart, lost in trouble of mind. Leader. Queen, wilt thou lead him to his house again? Jocasta. I will, when I have heard. Leader. There fell some word, some blind imagining between them, things known foolish yet can sting. Jocasta. From both the twain it rose? Leader. From both the twain. Jocasta. Ay, and what was the word? Leader. Surely there is enough of evil stirred, and Thebes heaves on the swell of storm. Oh, leave this lying where it fell. Oedipus. So be it, thou wise counsellor. Make slight my wrong, and blunt my purpose ere it smite. Leader. O king, not once I have answered. Visibly mad were I, lost to all wise usages, to seek to cast thee from us. 'Twas from thee we saw of old blue sky and summer seas, when Thebes in the storm and rain reeled like to die. Oh, if thou canst, again, blue sky, blue sky. Jocasta. Husband, in God's name say what hath ensued of ill, that thou shouldst seek so dire a feud. Oedipus. I will, wife. I have more regard for thee than these. Thy brother plots to murder me. Jocasta. Speak on, make all thy charge, only be clear. Oedipus. He says that I am Laius' murderer. Jocasta. Says it himself? Says he hath witnesses? Oedipus. Nay, of himself he ventures nothing. 'Tis this priest, this hellish seer, makes all the tale. Jocasta. The seer? Then tear thy terrors like a veil, and take free breath. A seer? No human thing born on the earth hath power for conjuring truth from the dark of God. Come, I will tell an old tale. There came once an oracle to Laius. I say not from the god himself, but from the priests and seers who trod his sanctuary. If ever son were bred from him and me, by that son's hand, it said, Laius must die. And he, the tale yet stays among us, at the crossing of 3 ways was slain by robbers, strangers, and my son, God's mercy, scarcely the 3rd day was gone when Laius took, and by another's hand, out on the desert mountain where the land is rock, cast him to die. Through both his feet a blade of iron they drove. Thus did we cheat Apollo of his will. My child could slay no father, and the king could cast away the fear that dogged him, by his child to die murdered. Behold the fruits of prophecy, which heed not thou. God needs not that a seer help him, when he would make his dark things clear. Oedipus. Woman, what turmoil hath thy story wrought within me? What upstirring of old thought? Jocasta. What thought? It turns thee like a frightened thing. Oedipus. 'Twas at the crossing of 3 ways this king was murdered? So I heard, or so I thought. Jocasta. That was the tale. It is not yet forgot. Oedipus. The crossing of 3 ways? And in what land? Jocasta. Phocis 'tis called. A road on either hand from Delphi comes, and Daulia in a glen. Oedipus. How many years and months have passed since then? Jocasta. 'Twas but a little time before proclaim was made of thee for king. The tidings came. Oedipus. My God, what hast thou willed to do with me? Jocasta. Oedipus, speak. What is it troubles thee? Oedipus. Ask me not yet, but say, what build, what height had Laius? Rode he full of youth and might? Jocasta. Tall, with a white new gleaming on his brow he walked, in shape just such a man as thou. Oedipus. God help me! I much fear that I have wrought a curse on mine own head, and knew it not. Jocasta. How sayest thou? O my king, I look on thee and tremble. Oedipus to himself. Horror, if the blind can see. Answer but one thing, and 'twill all be clear. Jocasta. Speak. I will answer, though I shake with fear. Oedipus. Went he with scant array, or a great band of armed followers, like a lord of land? Jocasta. 4 men were with him, one a herald. One chariot there was where Laius rode alone. Oedipus. Ay me, 'tis clear now. Woman, who could bring to Thebes the story of that manslaying? Jocasta. A house thrall, the one man they failed to slay. Oedipus. The one man? Is he in the house to day? Jocasta. Indeed, no. When he came that day and found thee on the throne Where once sat Laius crowned, he took my hand And prayed me earnestly to send him to the mountain heights, To be a herdsman, far from any sight Or call of Thebes. And there I sent him. 'Twas a thrall good‐hearted, worthy a far greater boon. Oedipus. Canst find him? I would see this herd, and soon. Jocasta. 'Tis easy. But what wouldst thou with the herd? Oedipus. I fear mine own voice, lest it spoke a word Too much, whereof this man must tell me true. Jocasta. The man shall come. My lord, methinks I too should know What fear doth work thee this despite. Oedipus. Thou shalt. When I am tossed to such an height Of dark foreboding, woman, when my mind Faceth such straits as these, where should I find A mightier love than thine? My father, thus I tell thee the whole tale, was Polybus, in Corinth king, my mother Merope of Dorian line, And I was held to be the proudest in Corinthia, Till one day a thing befell. Strange was it, but no way meet For such wonder and such rage as mine. A feast it was, and some one flushed with wine Cried out at me that I was no true son Of Polybus. Oh, I was wroth. That one day I kept silence, but the morrow morn I sought my parents, told that tale of scorn And claimed the truth, and they rose in their pride And smote the mocker. Ay, they satisfied all my desire, yet still the cavil gnawed my heart, And still the story crept abroad. At last I rose, my father knew not, nor my mother, And went forth to Pythos' floor to ask. And God in that for which I came Rejected me, but round me like a flame His voice flashed other answers, things of woe, Terror, and desolation. I must know My mother's body and beget thereon A race no mortal eye durst look upon, And spill in murder mine own father's blood. I heard, and hearing, straight from where I stood, No landmark but the stars to light my way, Fled from the dark south where Corinth lay, To lands far off, where never I might see My doom of scorn fulfilled. On bitterly I strode, and reached the region where, so saith thy tale, That king of Thebes was struck to death. Wife, I will tell thee true. As one in days I walked, till at the crossing of three ways A herald like thy tale, and o'er his head A man behind strong horses charioted, Met me. And both would turn me from the path, He and a thrall in front. And I in wrath smote him that pushed me. 'Twas a groom who led the horses. Not a word the master said, But watched. And as I passed him on the road, Down on my head his iron branched goad Stabbed. But by heaven he rued it. In a flash I swung my staff, and saw the old man crash Back from his car in blood. Then all of them I slew. Oh, if that man's unspoken name Had aught of Laius in him, in God's eye What man doth move more miserable than I? More dogged by the hate of heaven, no man, kin nor stranger, Any more may take me in. No man may greet me with a word, but all Cast me from out their houses. And, withal, 'twas mine own self that laid upon my life These curses. And I hold the dead man's wife In these polluting arms that spilt his soul? Am I a thing born evil? Am I foul in every vein? Thebes now doth banish me. And never in this exile must I see Mine ancient folk of Corinth, never tread The land that bore me. Else my mother's bed Shall be defiled, and Polybus, my good father, Who loved me well, be rolled in blood. If one should dream that such a world began In some slow devil's heart that hated man, Who should deny him? God, as thou art clean, Suffer not this. Oh, suffer not this sin to be, That e'er I look on such a day. Out of all vision of mankind away To darkness let me fall ere such a fate Touch me, so unclean and so desolate. Leader. I tremble too, O king, but till thou hear From him who saw, oh, let hope conquer fear.
Oedipus. One shred of hope I still have, and therefore will wait the herdsman's coming. 'Tis no more. Jocasta. He shall come, but what further dost thou seek? Oedipus. This: if we mark him close, and find him speak as thou hast, then I am lifted from my dread. Jocasta. What mean'st thou? Was there something that I said? Oedipus. Thou saidst he spoke of robbers, a great band That slaughtered Laius' men. If still he stand To the same tale, the guilt comes not my way. One cannot be a band. But if he say One lonely loin‐girt man, then visibly This is God's finger pointing toward me. Jocasta. Be sure of this. He told the story so When first he came. All they that heard him know, Not only I. He cannot change again Now. And if change he should, O Lord of men, No change of his can make the prophecy Of Laius' death fall true. He was to die Slain by my son. So Loxias spake. My son. He slew no man, that poor deserted one That died. And I will no more turn mine eyes This way nor that, for all their prophecies. Oedipus. Woman, thou counsellest well. Yet let it not escape thee. Send, and have the herdsman brought. Jocasta. That will I. Come. Thou knowest I ne'er would do Nor think of aught, save thou wouldst have it so. Jocasta and Oedipus go together into the palace. Chorus. They pray to be free from such great sins As they have just heard spoken of. Toward God's great mysteries, O let me move Unstained till I die, in speech or doing. For the laws thereof are holy, walkers upon ways above, Born in the far blue sky. Their father is Olympus uncreate. No man hath made nor told their being. Neither shall oblivion set sleep on their eyes, For in them lives a great spirit and grows not old. They wonder if these sins be all due to pride, And if Creon has guilty ambitions. 'Tis pride that breeds the tyrant. Drunken deep With perilous things is she, which bring not peace. Upreeling steep on steep she climbs, till lo The rock edge, and the leap to that which needs must be, The land where the strong foot is no more strong. Yet is there surely pride that saves a city. God preserve it long. I judge not. Only through all maze of wrong Be God, not man, my guide. Or if Tiresias can really be a lying prophet With no fear of God, they feel that all faith In oracles and the things of God is shaken. Is there a priest who moves amid the altars, Ruthless in deed and word, Fears not the presence of his God, nor falters Lest right at last be heard? If such there be, oh, let some doom be given Meet for his ill‐starred pride, Who will not gain his gain where justice is, Who will not hold his lips from blasphemies, Who hurls rash hands amid the things of heaven, From man's touch sanctified. In a world where such things be, What spirit hath shield or lance To ward him secretly From the arrow that slays askance? If honour to such things be, Why should I dance my dance? I go no more with prayers and adorations To earth's deep heart of stone, Nor yet the Abantes' floor, nor where the nations Kneel at Olympia's throne, Till all this dark be lightened, For the finger of man to touch and know. O thou that rulest, if men rightly call Thy name on earth, O Zeus, thou Lord of all, And strength undying, let not these things linger Unknown, tossed to and fro. For faint is the oracle, and they thrust it aside away, And no more visible Apollo to save or slay, And the things of God they fail as mist on the wind away. Jocasta comes out from the palace, followed by handmaids bearing incense and flowers. Jocasta. Lords of the land, the ways my thought hath trod Lead me in worship to these shrines of God With flowers and incense flame. So dire a storm doth shake the king, Sin, dread, and every form of grief the world knows. 'Tis the wise man's way To judge the morrow by the yesterday. Sleep, sleep he doth never, but gives eye and ear To all who speak, will they but speak of fear. And seeing no word of mine hath power to heal His torment, therefore forth to thee I steal. O slayer of the wolf, O lord of light, Apollo,
Thou art near us, and of right dost hold us thine. To thee in prayer I fall. [She kneels at the altar of Apollo Lukeios. Oh, show us still some path that is not all unclean, for now our captain's eyes are dim with dread, and the whole ship must follow him. While she prays, a stranger has entered and begins to accost the chorus. Stranger. Good masters, is there one of you could bring my steps to the house of Oedipus, your king? Or better, to himself, if that may be? Leader. This is the house, and he within, and she thou seest, the mother of his royal seed. Jocasta arises anxious from her prayer. Stranger. Being wife to such a man, happy indeed, and ringed with happy faces may she live. Jocasta. To one so fair of speech may the gods give like blessing, courteous stranger. 'Tis thy due. But say, what leads thee hither? Can we do thy wish in aught, or hast thou news to bring? Stranger. Good news, O queen, for thee and for the king. Jocasta. What is it, and from what prince comest thou? Stranger. I come from Corinth, and my tale, I trow, will give thee joy, yet haply also pain. Jocasta. What news can have that twofold power? Be plain. Stranger. 'Tis spoke in Corinth that the gathering of folk will make thy lord our chosen king. Jocasta. How? Is old Polybus in power no more? Stranger. Death has a greater power, his reign is o'er. Jocasta. What say'st thou? Dead? Oedipus' father dead? Stranger. If I speak false, let me die in his stead. Jocasta. Ho, maiden, to our master! Hie thee fast and tell this tale. The maiden goes. Where stand ye at the last, ye oracles of God? For many a year Oedipus fled before that man, in fear to slay him. And behold, we find him thus, slain by a chance death, not by Oedipus. Oedipus comes out from the palace. Oedipus. O wife, O face I love to look upon, why callest thou me from where I sat alone? Jocasta. Give ear, and ponder from what this man tells, how end these proud priests and their oracles. Oedipus. Whence comes he? And what word hath he for us? Jocasta. From Corinth, bearing news that Polybus, thy father, is no more. He has found his death. Oedipus. How? Stranger, speak thyself. This that she saith? Stranger. Is sure. If that is the first news ye crave, I tell thee, Polybus lieth in his grave. Oedipus. Not murdered? How? Some passing of disease? Stranger. A slight thing turns an old life to its peace. Oedipus. Poor father! 'Tis by sickness he is dead? Stranger. The growing years lay heavy on his head. Oedipus. O wife, why then should man fear any more the face of Pytho's dome, or cower before these birds that shriek above us? They foretold me for my father's murderer. And behold, he lies in Corinth dead, and here am I, and never touched the sword. Or did he die in grief for me who left him? In that way I may have wrought his death. But come what may, he sleepeth in his grave, and with him all this deadly seercraft, of no worth at all. Jocasta. Dear Lord, long since did I not show thee clear? Oedipus. Indeed, yes. I was warped by mine own fear. Jocasta. Now thou wilt cast it from thee and forget. Oedipus. Forget my mother? It is not over yet. Jocasta. What should man do with fear, who hath but chance above him, and no sight nor governance of things to be? To live as life may run, no fear, no fret, were wisest 'neath the sun. And thou, fear not thy mother. Prophets deem a deed wrought that is wrought but in a dream. And he to whom these things are nothing, best will bear his burden. Oedipus. All thou counsellest were good, save that my mother liveth still. And, though thy words be wise, for good or ill, her I still fear. Jocasta. Think of thy father's tomb. Like light across our darkness it hath come. Oedipus. Great light. But while she lives, I fly from her. Stranger. What woman, Prince, doth fill thee so with fear? Oedipus. Merop, friend, who dwelt with Polybus. Stranger. What in Queen Merop should fright thee thus? Oedipus. A voice of God, stranger, of dire import. Stranger. Meet for mine ears, or of some secret sort? Oedipus. Nay, thou must hear, and Corinth. Long ago Apollo spake a doom that I should know my mother's flesh, and with mine own hands spill my father's blood. 'Tis that, and not my will, hath kept me always far from Corinth. So, life hath dealt kindly with me, yet men know on earth no comfort like a mother's face. Stranger. 'Tis that hath kept thee exiled in this place? Oedipus. That, and the fear too of my father's blood. Stranger. Then surely, Lord, I came but for thy good. 'Twere well if from that fear I set thee free. Oedipus. Ah, couldst thou! There were rich reward for thee. Stranger. To say truth, I had hoped to lead thee home now, and myself to get some good therefrom. Oedipus. Nay, where my parents are I will not go. Stranger. My son, 'tis very clear thou dost not know what road thou goest. Oedipus. How? In God's name say, how clear? Stranger. 'Tis this keeps thee so long away from Corinth? Oedipus. 'Tis the fear lest that word break one day upon me true. Stranger. Fear lest thou take defilement from the two that gave thee birth? Oedipus. 'Tis that, old man, 'tis that doth fill the earth with terror. Stranger. Then thy terror all hath been for nothing. Oedipus. How? Were not your king and queen my parents? Stranger. Polybus was naught to thee in blood. Oedipus. How? He my father. Stranger. That was he as much as I, but no more. Oedipus. Thou art naught. 'Twas he begot me. Stranger. 'Twas not I begot Oedipus, neither was it he. Oedipus. What wild fancy, then, made him name me for his child? Stranger. Thou wast his child, by gift. Long years ago mine own hand brought thee to him. Oedipus. Coming so, from a strange hand, he gave me that great love? Stranger. He had no child, and the desire thereof held him. Oedipus. And thou didst find somewhere, or by, a child for him? Stranger. I found it in a high glen of Kithairon. Movement of Jocasta, who stands riveted with dread, unnoticed by the others. Oedipus. Yonder? To what end wast travelling in these parts? Stranger. I came to tend the flocks here on the mountain. Oedipus. Thou wast one that wandered, tending sheep for hire? Stranger. My son, that day I was the saviour of a king. Oedipus. How saviour? Was I in some suffering or peril? Stranger. Thine own feet a tale could speak. Oedipus. Ah me! What ancient pain stirs half awake within me? Stranger. 'Twas a spike through both thy feet. I set thee free. Oedipus. A strange scorn that, to greet a babe new on the earth. Stranger. From that they fain Must call thee Oedipus, who walks in pain. Oedipus. Who called me so? Father or mother? Oh, in God's name, speak. Stranger. I know not. He should know who brought thee. Oedipus. So, I was not found by thee. Thou hadst me from another? Stranger. Ay, to me one of the shepherds gave the babe, to bear far off. Oedipus. What shepherd? Know'st thou not? Declare all that thou knowest. Stranger. By my memory, then, I think they called him one of Laius' men. Oedipus. That Laius who was king in Thebes of old? Stranger. The same. My man did herding in his fold. Oedipus. Is he yet living? Can I see his face? Stranger. [Turning to the Chorus. Ye will know that, being natives to the place. Oedipus. How? Is there one of you within my pale Standing, that knows the shepherd of his tale? Ye have seen him on the hills, or in this town? Speak, for the hour is come that all be known. Leader. I think 'twill be the peasant man, the same Thou hast sought long time to see. His place and name Our mistress, if she will, can tell most clear. Jocasta remains as if she heard nothing. Oedipus. Thou hear'st him, wife. The herd whose presence here we craved for, is it he this man would say? JoCASTA. He saith — what of it? Ask not. Only pray not to remember. Tales are vainly told. Oedipus. 'Tis mine own birth. How can I, when I hold Such clues as these, refrain from knowing all? JoCASTA. For God's love, no. Not if thou car'st at all for thine own life. My anguish is enough. Oedipus bitterly. Fear not. Though I be thrice of slavish stuff From my third grandam down, it shames not thee. JoCASTA. Ask no more. I beseech thee. Promise me. Oedipus. To leave the truth half found? 'Tis not my mood. JoCASTA. I understand, and tell thee what is good. Oedipus. Thy good doth weary me. JoCASTA. O child of woe, I pray God thou never know. Oedipus {turning from her). Go, fetch the herdsman straight. This queen of mine May walk alone to boast her royal line. JoCASTA. She twice draws in her breath through her teeth, as if in some sharp pain. Unhappy one, good bye. Good bye before I go. This once, and never, never more. She comes towards him as though to take a last farewell, then stops suddenly, turns, and rushes into the palace. End of Part Two. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine.